I never imagined my disabled sister's wheelchair would be chained to our porch by our ruthless HOA president, until a covert FBI agent revealed she'd been tracking our neighborhood for years. How far would you go when your family's freedom is literally locked away by those meant to protect your community? The screech of metal on concrete jolted me awake at 5:30 a.m. I stumbled to the front door in pajamas and froze. 2 men in Maple Grove HOA jackets were wrapping a heavy chain around my sister Emily's wheelchair, securing it to our porch railing with a massive padlock. "What are you doing?" I yelled, barefoot and furious. "That's my sister's wheelchair." The taller man shoved a paper at me. "Mobility devices must be stored out of sight, per HOA Bylaw 23.4. Third warning. Third warning? We never got any. I was stunned. Emily had moved in with me 3 months ago after a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down. "Take it up with the board," the second man said as they sped off in a golf cart. I tugged at the chain, industrial grade, unyielding. Emily appeared in the doorway, leaning on crutches she hadn't used in weeks. "What's happening, Mark?" Her voice trembled. She'd fought so hard in therapy to regain independence with her wheelchair. "A mistake," I said, forcing calm. "I'll fix this." I called a locksmith, but he couldn't come until afternoon. Emily was in tears. "I have my job interview today. I can't miss it." I helped her to my car, her spirit crushed by needing me again. While she was gone, I scoured the HOA's 94-page rulebook. Bylaw 23.4 applied to bikes and scooters, not medical equipment. The locksmith finally freed the wheelchair for $175. As he worked, my neighbor Susan walked by with her unapproved garden statues, untouched by the HOA. "Shame what an HOA president, Margaret Wilson, is behind this," she whispered. That evening, I emailed the HOA board, citing Emily's disability and requesting an ADA accommodation. Within an hour, a reply. "Exemption denied. Remove your unauthorized wheelchair ramp within 48 hours." The ramp was city approved, with permits. The next day, I confirmed this with the city, but found a $500 fine on my door for unauthorized modifications. I saw Margaret snapping photos of our house. She was in her 60s, impeccably dressed, but her eyes were cold. "Margaret, can we talk?" "Emily needs that wheelchair." "Rules are rules," she snapped. "Your sister's condition doesn't justify lowering property values." "The ramp's barely visible," I argued. "Chaining a wheelchair is cruel and illegal." Her eyes narrowed. "Maybe Maple Grove isn't right for your family." She ignored Susan's holiday decorations and a neighbor's boat, both against HOA rules. That night, I studied disability laws. The HOA's actions violated federal protections. I prepared for the next HOA meeting. The room fell silent as I entered. Margaret ignored my raised hand, but I stood up. "I'm addressing the illegal chaining of my sister's medical equipment." Margaret's face reddened. "Not on the agenda." "Sit down." My neighbor Tom stood. "I want to hear Mark." Reluctantly, she gave me 3 minutes. I explained Emily's situation and handed out ADA law copies. "I've documented selective enforcement," I said, showing photos of ignored violations. Margaret slammed her gavel. "Meeting adjourned." Tom warned me. "Be careful. Margaret has city council friends, but you're not alone." At home, fake eviction notices plastered my door. The next morning, workers installed a camera aimed at my house, not common areas. My lawyer friend, Laura, confirmed it was illegal. I installed a doorbell camera, catching Margaret slipping a $750 fine into my mailbox for false accusations. Her handwritten note mocked Emily's disability. I created a private Facebook group, Maple Grove Truth, and shared my evidence. 50 neighbors joined, revealing Margaret's selective fines and favoritism. Someone anonymously slipped me HOA financial records showing $45,000 paid to a landscaping company owned by Margaret's brother for non-existent work. At the county office, I confirmed our ramp was on our property, not HOA land. Margaret and 2 board members offered a compromise. Emily's wheelchair could stay if covered with a tarp. That's not reasonable under federal law, I said. And what about these payments to your brother's company? Margaret paled. You're making a mistake. People who challenge me don't last here. A white van began parking across the street, watching us. Emily grew anxious. Maybe we should move. This is about stopping bullies, I told her. I contacted a local reporter, sharing my evidence and connecting them with other victims of Margaret's discrimination. They uncovered her prior HOA lawsuits, settled secretly. Tom knocked on my back door, whispering, I'm FBI, investigating Margaret for fraud and civil rights violations. My jaw dropped. He explained Margaret skimmed HOA funds, targeted undesirable families, and took kickbacks from vendors. The wheelchair incident was personal. She'd called Emily's presence a hospital zone. Tom gave me a recorder. Get her to admit to the wheelchair and finances. It's risky, she has police friends. As we spoke, Margaret's SUV crawled by. I texted Tom, agreeing to help. That night, I saw a blinking red light in the bushes. Someone else was watching. At the playground, Tom gave me a recorder hidden in a coffee cup. He said Margaret was using HOA funds for personal expenses and planned to siphon a new security assessment. Challenge her publicly at tonight's meeting. She'll confront you privately. Record it. At the meeting, I interrupted. Margaret chained my disabled sister's wheelchair. She snapped. That was handled per bylaws. I held up the chain. This violates federal law. Neighbor Greg spoke up. We never voted on that. Or the $50,000 for the clubhouse renovation that never happened. The room erupted. Margaret lost control, shouting about troublemakers. Afterward, she cornered me in the parking lot. I activated the recorder. You'll regret tonight, she hissed. Your sister's wheelchair was just the beginning. Keep pushing, and your car's towed, your trees cut, fines you can't pay. Why target us? I asked. People like your sister lower property values. She sneered. I got rid of the Lopez family and old Mrs. Carter the same way. The renovation money? My compensation for keeping undesirables out. She warned me to move out. I sent the recording to Tom. He replied, Don't go home yet. I saw Margaret and board members shredding HOA files at the clubhouse. I photographed it. At home, Margaret's son spray-painted, Leave now, on our garage. The next day, Tom flashed his FBI badge at Margaret's house. Neighbors gathered as agents presented the wheelchair chain, with her fingerprints. We have video of you chaining it, an agent said. Emily rolled out. I have mobility issues, but you're stuck in the past. A news van arrived. Tom announced Margaret embezzled $350,000, rigged elections, and targeted dissenters. Agents searched her home, finding cash and jewelry bought with HOA funds. Board members were detained. Neighbors shared stories of Margaret's tyranny at an emergency meeting. The FBI revealed her fake landscaping company and luxury purchases. I explained. It started with a chain. We fought with evidence, not anger. The crowd cheered. A new board formed, and I joined. Margaret and her allies face fraud, embezzlement, and civil rights charges. We passed an accessibility policy, with Emily as consultant, and suspended unfair fines. 2 months later, we held a block party. Kids played freely, and Emily raced them on new accessible paths. She smiled. The best revenge is getting better. Margaret's house stood empty. The wheelchair chain hangs in our community center, inscribed, Freedom takes courage, community, and sometimes the FBI. What would you do if your family faced this? Was Margaret's downfall justice, or did the community go too far? Share your thoughts below. Let's debate how far is too far when fighting for what's right.